Buono estente, Bojangos. We're carrying on. We're 1338. We just got an 11-point win. Opponent is rated 1233, and we are facing on d4. So we are going for the Charlotte, the Hautlaub Charlotte Gambit. Okay, so this is an England Gambit declined. White has now moved this pawn a second time. The correct move here is, I think, bishop c5. We're going for development. So basically, what White has done with that move is allowed us to get the first piece out on the board. So now it's almost like the tables have turned. Okay, so this pawn is defended twice. It does make life slightly difficult for our knight to get out. Of course, our knight can come to d7 as well. This knight can come out for free, and I see zero reason not to do that. I mean, he may come out and try and pin, which is like, you're getting yourself kicked if you do that. Okay, and there he has the centre. So White's got a kind of slightly, arguably overextended centre now. We've got a very solid structure here. Again, this bishop now is having trouble. But I think very often in these lines, I'll push c6 and just start to chip away. Let's get castled now. And I think c6, an early c6 makes sense here. I've got fairly strong structure there. I mean, because I'm just threatening to take. So I think c6 now. The only wrinkle could be I could play bishop d7 first, which gives me the option of recapturing with the bishop. So what's the plan going to be? If he takes, I can take back with the pawn and activate this bishop. I can also take back with the knight. But let's see what happens. A little bit blurry today. Too many red wines last night. But I'm back on the evil bean. There we go. And I'm out refereeing this afternoon. Could be fun for a schools game. I did strictly retire from refereeing at the end of last season, but I've got a local school around here and also my old club. Occasionally they'll just hit me up and say, hey, can you step in for a game? So why not? Gets me out the house. Okay. Bishop c4 now. So I'm definitely leaning towards capturing here. It means I'm capturing one of his central pawns with a wing pawn. He's going to take back with bishop or knight. Or pawn. Okay, there goes the knight. Now he's kind of threatening to take here. If he takes there, I take back with the queen. That's fine. I could play bishop e6. With double pressure on his knight. It is defended 3 times, so it's not a case of winning material. Right, what do we do? What do we do? I mean, I've got knight d7, knight b6 is also an idea. Knight d7 also pairs up the knight, so that if he takes here, I can recapture with my knight. This pawn is defended. Let's play this. So even if I come here and pressurize the bishop, for example, I think this looks quite good actually. So I'm attacking the knight twice if I do that. If he takes here, I can recapture with queen or knight. Okay. Interesting. That is a second attacker. Didn't contemplate that at all. I do have a check. He might block with this pawn. Blocking with this pawn doesn't work. I can take with the bishop with check again. Knight takes, queen takes is check again. So I think I'm gonna do this. He's got another check there as well, but right now he's in check. So what I'm threatening here is just to take this knight and kind of solve my problems. This just blocks. Bishop back is another idea that he's got. In which case I can just drop my queen back down here, maybe. Okay, knight blocks. Interesting. But the problem is that hangs this pawn, does it not? I mean, this pawn is currently defended only by the knight, but the knight is pinned, therefore not defending nothing. So I can get out of jail free. I'm attacking the pinned knight and attacking the bishop as well. And attacking f2 twice. Okay, so that little exchange has kind of worked out quite well for me. I can win another pawn here. That also hits this bishop. I'm currently a pawn up. f6 kind of forces his bishop back as well. So, I mean, this is a nice knight, but right now it's under threat. So I think we will. I'm already castled short, so I'm not worried about opening up the b file. And surely here I should just take the pawn. But it has to be said, that pawn is not exactly... I mean, it's a soft target, isn't it? But the thing is, it's also a tempo move because I attacked the bishop. This pawn is currently pinned, but rook defends, king defends. Bishop will probably drop back here. In which case I might think about chasing it off. Don't see a problem with this right now. That is kind of a backwards pawn, but defended by the bishop. So what's interesting here is I have these two central pawns, white has none. So my hunch is, I mean, I'd like to push this. I can't right now because it's in the pin, but I'll get out the pin, maybe rook e8 with f6, push this bishop away, try and centralize both of my rooks, get this bishop developed, centralize both rooks, and just force Dave and Eddie up the board. Seems to make sense. Okay. Now, knight b6 hits the bishop. Also opens up routes for my bishop, liking. Nothing not, yeah. Attacking this pawn, it's currently defended, so I kind of have to keep my bishop there. He might drop up here, in which case I've got ideas about maybe just chasing this bishop off. Bishop e6 now, if we trade. I mean, is he going to let me take? Give up the bishop pair? Not on this board. Oh. Found a really interesting line against the Caro-Kann as well today from a Jonathan Schrantz video called the Breyer variation. Very trappy indeed. Now, bishop e6 just super contests this, and if he takes, I take. I then get 3 pawns in the centre. I've now connected my rooks as well. This is move 14. I've now completed development, and I did it before white because you haven't completed. It's defended. If takes, f takes, I open up the rook. I can then peel open the G file, which would be good. Definitely leaving myself in a good position here, right? Maybe threatening to take. I don't think I'll give up the exchange at this point in time. Although I am 2 pawns up already. I would only give up the exchange if it led to like a guaranteed winning endgame. See, my dark squared bishop here is in a good position. It's paired up with this pawn. It's anchored there, gunning down at the king, right? Now, if I was to like play f6 and push his dark squared bishop out a bit, where's he going to go? I feel like my bishop's going to be the better bishop. Goldmund 67. Damn, he's older than me. Now, I don't think I want to be the one to pull the trigger on this. Partly because he's recapturing either of these pawns, he repairs his pawn structure. That ain't what we want. Now, so ideas include here with my knight, contesting his knight. I'm attacking it twice actually. It's also defended twice, but we could just do that. Sash, right? However he takes, I take back with my bishop. We could end up with a big trade. All better for me. I can't push f6 now because it hangs this bishop, right? Another idea is d5. I don't know about pushing yet. Rook fe8 is also a thought, but I'm inclined to go for this, I think, and just simplify. Yeah, and pre-move the recapture even. Still happy with my pawns in the middle of the board here. Still happy with my superior dark squared bishop. Okay, he's attacking my queen. I can do this. Try and trade off the queens. If he takes and bishop takes, it loses this. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Okay. Anything better? Anything better? No, not that I can see. I am 2 pawns up, and these are they. What's more as well, I've got connected pawns on the queen side. Whereas white, looking at these A, B, C, D, E, has got only 2 isolated pawns, and that is going to be a hard task to defend later on. Okay, interesting. So he's taken out the bishop. Now, I could trade queens here and then take the knight. That gives me a 3 and a 4. So my pawns are actually still fine. I can take away from the center here. Or, option 2, I can take the knight with the queen. This knight is defended by the bishop anyway. I take the knight here, it means that this pawn is still pinned. If he takes, I can recapture with the bishop, with queen defending this. Or we just simplify. I think I'm leaning towards simplifying. Take with either rook. So when he's got a rook on there, he's potentially threatening to take out this knight, which removes the defender. So for that reason, I think I'm going to actually take with the pawn rather than the queen. We've still got tension, right? So I'm still threatening to simplify there, but I think this makes sense. I might stick all of my pawns here on the dark squares, seeing as I no longer have a dark squared bishop, so that makes sense, I think, at this point in the game. Right? Stick my pawns on this lovely dark squared kind of Mayan pyramid, which allows my remaining bishop the freedom of the city, whereas his dark squared bishop is going to be shut out. Yes? And if he wants to trade queens here, I'll just recapture back towards the center and just build a super duper connect 4 pawn chain. So I think we're good. I think we are good. Goldman 67 comes from Italy and appears to have a rabbit on a chessboard or something, is there? It's very small, I can't make it out. Okay, undefended. Everything else is obviously defended. That's the layout. But you've got a light black here, haven't you? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Huh? Okay, bishop back. There, if he takes with... I think it's just simplification, isn't it, across the nation? If I take here, I'm actually threatening the queen, right? So, but he has got pawn takes threatening my queen. Let us think. So option 1, trade queens. I'm +2 pawns, completely excusable to trade queens. If I was to take here, I think what he's trying to do, he's trying to get rid of his dark squared bishop. And I don't think I'm going to have it. I think we're going to trade queens. I'm going to carry on, continue with my threat of shutting his bishop out of the game. That's what we're going to do. That's defended, right? These are about to be defended. He has to recapture with one of his rooks. I don't think I need to trade my very decent knight for his rubbish bishop. So I think now the issue is that's on prise, so I'm thinking b6 is the way to go. But let's consider what happens. If I take here, he takes. That's then 3 isolated pawns, and this is his pawn structure in the ending. He could also take here though, so I'm not into that. Not into that idea. Maybe I need to defend my bishop with like rook f8 so that my knight is free to move. Now this is not a bad thing. Excuse me. Giving him very, very tricky pawns. But tactically, I don't want this. I don't want to double up. I don't want doubled isolated e-pawns either. So 1338 here. I did 105 points higher rated than our opponent. So this is a 6-point game. All right. That's a slightly funny move. To move this rook here. One thing is that you can see any time a rook gets trapped like that, you've got to be tuning in your spidey senses to the possibility of a smothered attack. So I'm thinking rook f8, thinking f6 at some point. Let's play rook f8. Well, okay, I've got 8 minutes, come on. If I take, I'm concerned about this. If I take, he takes, then I take the rook. I take, he's going to take back with the rook. No, I'm just going to defend this bishop. Because I want to do that. I might get my king off a light square, seeing as this. But I think this is, it feels like one of those just times where patience is the key. Okay, this is fine. So now I can move my knight. Right, his bishop's got to defend that square, by the way, because this rook is trapped. Okay, so look, we've achieved our goal of building this thing. Okay, so he attacks the rook. Do I want to lift, or do I just want to go straight to d8? I think straight to d8. If I lift here, I mean, that's my route onto the d file, and he's currently got it covered. So that's my concern. I could always lift from here, but also notice this pawn's undefended. This pawn is defended by the bishop, right? But if this knight moves, there's a discovery against that pawn, right? Something like this might also be interesting as well. Okay, curious. He's attacking my pawn, but I can recapture with the knight, so I'm cool with that. Do I want to lift now? We're really playing against this bad bishop. But if he takes here and I take back with the knight, that's cool. I'm cool with that. He'll probably then attack my knight with his dark squared bishop and try and swap that off, right? But if taketh, I don't know. I just stick my knight back on a light square somewhere. So I'm thinking rook d4. Yeah. I think rook d4. You take here, knight takes. Then I've got a knight smack in the middle of the board. He's almost certainly going to try and swap it off, in which case I might just replace it with the rook or something. But look, I mean, look at this. I mean, this is all coming down to pawn structure, right? Who's got the winning pawn structure? Well, it's black, because he's got these isolated fellas here. This guy's just shot off the mark. Okay. Knight takes, and I threaten the bishop. I would still love to get my knight here, but actually this rook is now completely open. Okay, I attack your bishop. What are you going to do? You come here. I just trade off. Yeah, I know it repairs his pawns. Okay, I can take. He takes. That's just trading light squared bishops, right? Takes, takes. I stick my knight back there. In fact, my knight probably wants to be on a light square if he's only got that. Or, option B. Rook a d8. Yeah, I think both rooks on the open file. And I reserve the option to do this. Could drop my bishop back somehow. Could go there as well. Targeting this and the bishop. Still targeting the undefended pawn on a2. Okay. I take bishop, you take rook, I take your other bishop. Hang on. I take bishop, rook takes bishop. My knight's hanging, my rook comes back here. I take, you take, I take, this is defended. I take, rook takes bishop, this rook comes back to d6. Happy days. I think this is fine. Okay, and now this. I'm still 2 pawns up. I'm not scared of this bishop whatsoever. It's the only bishop left on the board, and I still have 5 pawns on dark squares. Really, I mean, this bishop now, there is almost no way for it to get into my camp. I think this is the only kind of diagonal that's available. And it's not quick. Right, so I'm threatening to trade off the rooks. I might even play king f7. My knight has a couple of nice outposts, again in the centre, both defended by pawns on dark squares. Problem is, I want my knight on a light square, so that it's hitting dark squares where this bishop might land, and also so that it's untouchable by the bishop himself. My issue is with my pawns on dark squares, they're all defending dark squares, obviously, So okay, trading. Okay, now I'm thinking king f7. It's just the most righteous move. This attacks the pawn. Notice this pawn is pinned, right? So this would be a huge mistake because bishop can take and I can't recapture. So we are not doing that. I could put my knight here. Okay, everybody be cool. I'd love to force the rooks off the board, but I have no means to do that right now. Okay, still going down here. Let's just push a pawn and just hold fire. I can attack the bishop. That's an idea. And the pawn behind it. So he has to go here, right? There, he can't go there because my pawn, right? I go here, he goes here. Another idea is this. That's a fork. There, he takes, I take with the pawn, I've got a passed pawn. I think that's a strategy. You know, this, he can't afford to let me in there. Right, so if he does something silly like just move his rook, and this he goes here, I've got that. And that would just win presently. So he's got to be on his toes. Quite pleased with the progress of this game. I think performing all right. Got good defense on this pawn, so this is almost a resignable position now. I don't expect my opponent to resign. There we go. That's the move. What I predicted. What I did. That would be nice. This is also a thought. Also just puts my rook on a light square. If he takes now, it's still a passed pawn. I get my rook back behind it. Hello, Morgan. You're right, sweetheart. This is my very short wheelbase cat. Hello, babes. You're right. You're getting into your cuddles recently, aren't you? Yeah. Okay. What you gonna do? Goldman. Hello there. Oh. Okay, king. Right. Now, Simplification is the name of the game. I think I'm going to push a5. It kind of creates this backwards pawn, but it's defended, and my opponent really doesn't have anything right now. Okay. So there goes the pawn. Now, I think this is a target. So my hunch is this, hitting the pawn. He's got that to defend. How else can I attack that pawn? That doesn't work. Rook takes. I'm going to attack it from this square, right? But I can't get there because of rook. Can't get there because of rook. So I'm going to pivot around here. If he takes, I've got rook takes. I know this pawn is still pinned, and it's not defending that square, but the rook is. So I think we're okay. Here, his only way to defend the pawn is to put his rook there. Which point I can maybe think about. Hello. Hello. Yeah, you've got your balloon knot right in my. Oi! I don't want that. Don't want your balloon knot in my face. Okay. Okay, I'm just going. Yeah, I'm going to come here, hit the pawn. His only way to defend is that. Morgan! Go on. Go away. So let's say rook f4, g5 hitting the rook. He can't get there and he can't get there because knight covers, right? Rook here, g5. He has to go here. To defend the pawn. Might then just shuffle my king up and start to pressure. In fact, if he goes here, I've just got f5, haven't I? f5 then, because there's two side-by-side pawns, everything is covered. He has to retreat. And then I think I can win the pawn with the discovered attack on the rook. So if he comes here, f5. And he's down under 7 minutes. I'm on 5 minutes 40, so I haven't got all the time in the world. But I am just winning. So your objective when you're winning is just to win. Sounds simple, doesn't it? It's like your default in the end game is what's the best result possible, guarantee it. Grind it out. That's the only way to defend the pawn. At which point I have f5 and he has to go backwards. I win the pawn, attacking the bishop and the rook at the same time, thereby forcing further simplification. Okay, you can't take the knight. You have to go backwards. At which point this belongs to me. Depends where he goes actually. He should go onto one of the squares that's defended by the bishop. I think rook e2 might be tempting defending the bishop, but then I just have this with check and a fork. He kind of has to take, and then rook takes rook and wins. So he needs to go either to e3 or e1, not e2. But when he goes onto one of these squares, I believe my best move is just to take the pawn and then up 3 pawns with a double attack, and that's the end of the game pretty much. So if he goes here, it's losing. There we go. Okay, check with a discovery on the rook. Pawn takes, I take rook. Oh, the only option is king moves, I take rook. That was a poor choice by Goldman. I'm starting to get off on calculation now, which is absolutely the way to improve. Got to enjoy testing yourself. It's like going into the gym and trying to push for a PB on whatever equipment, or whatever exercise. You stretch yourself. That's what I'm doing. You can actually resign at this point. If takes actually wins the bishop as well, because it's a fork on king and bishop. But you're in check. If the king moves, I can... no, if the king moves, I win the... So the king probably has to go here. I win that. You take the knight, I take this. I'm up a rook. And it's the end of the game. So I think we're all good. There we go. And resigns. All right, quick look at the analysis. I was quite happy with that. Okay, roll up, roll up, roll up. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Place your bets. I'd like to think that was a 1900 game. With accuracy in the 80s would be lovely, but you never know what you're going to get. Come on, Fish, what is it? 74.8? 4 misses from me. And 1600. So it's okay. But it didn't like my opening and middle game. So let's go through what. Okay. So this is a miss, right? There we go. Excellent move. Best move. Usually a knight move. I mean, come on. That's 0.07 of a pawn difference. It's okay. Huh. C6. See? Good move. And very much, a lot of this is about the pawns. Okay, didn't like that. Wow, wanted b5. Okay, but I'm never worse now in this game. Takes knight here. Yes, there was a hanging, but I literally did not notice. Literally did not notice. And that's a blunder. Leads to losing a pawn. Oh, the old favourite. Right, what? I've got a bishop looking down at the f-pawn. Opponent has pinned my knight to my queen. Therefore, you should always be thinking about this sack. There we go. So bishop takes f2 was, and that's a blunder. Yeah, because of this move. And really now it collapses. Look at my opponent's pawns are still okay, right? But the big difference is I've got these two central pawns. And we'll see how it goes. And now this is irreparable damage, you know. Well, it's not. I mean, he tries to repair it later on, but I don't allow it. Drops a pawn. There was something better. Okay. And that's not ideal. Ah, wanted me to just force the central pawns up the board. Get it? Yep. Still, it's just, you know, how many times do we analyse and it just says, just push the damn central pawns. Okay, attacks queen, I come back here, best move, and this is just not, ooh. 0.76 that way, -2 that way. Wow. Why? Why was queen takes so much better? Okay, so here it's saying I should take with a knight, I think. But you know, here we are. Okay. This trade, but you know, it's just different ways to win, right? And here I'm not doing anything clever, right? I just want to fix, just cash in on my advantages. There we go, knight in the center, and it's all good. Yeah, this I liked, you know, seeing this. Fair trade, and there we go. You know, the rest is kind of history on that. Yeah, quite happy with that. 1600 game, okay. You know, getting there, improving. But yeah, I felt like that was quite instructive. Just missed a few little tactics, especially that bishop takes f2 check. Ah, dear oh dear. Anyway, we live, we learn. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you soon.